everybody, welcome to UK Gaming Network. I'm Brian, also known as UKG Zoidberg, and I've been gaming for over 40 years now. If I had £1 for every time over those years that I've been excited for a game, only for that game to become vaporware and never get released, I'd be a very rich man. Occasionally though, there are those games that buck that trend, and thanks to the efforts of the amazing Amiga community, they become available for us to play all these years later. That's what today's video is all about, as I go through my picks for the best 10 lost games for the Commodore Amiga. As always, this is merely my opinion, and if you disagree with anything that I've said, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Before that though, let's have a quick word about memberships. Hey, has anybody told you about the VIP memberships that we do right here on the channel? Not only will you get early access to most of the videos that we post, you'll also get exclusive access to full reruns of any live streams that we do, plus exclusive membership content. You'll even get one of these little badges that you can put on your name whenever you comment on anything, just to show people how long you've been a member for. If that sounds like something that might be of interest to you, it's only £1.99 a month, and you can find full details of how you can become a member in the video description, or just click the link on screen right now. You'll even get to help us choose what games we cover in future episodes of both the Re-Review and Retro Game Super Leagues, so why not check it out? For now though, let's get back to the video. Let's start this list with 2 games in one that were actually never finished, and therefore I'm going to count them as one, mainly because they had demos given away on the same cover disc with the One magazine in 1993. First up, a game called Superhero, which was due to be published by Psygnosis. This was an action platform game being developed by a team called Cage in Germany. When the game was just a few weeks away from completion, the team's offices were raided by police and all of their computers were confiscated. After the charges were dropped, they didn't get their equipment back until 1998, by which time the Amiga market had all but disappeared and Psygnosis had been bought out by Sony. From the demo, it's an interesting game which had potential, but we'll never know how good the full game would have been. On the same cover disc was a demo of Universal Monsters from Ocean Software, whose a name you're going to hear a lot in this video. An attempt to revitalise the isometric 3D adventure game, which had brought them much success with Head Over Heels. There's no denying that this game looks great with some brilliantly detailed levels and sprites. Trouble is, in gameplay terms, it feels like something from a different era, and maybe that's what led to the game ultimately remaining unfinished. Although the fact that the game's lead programmer left Ocean and moved to another team probably didn't help either. Also known as Adidas Golden Shoe in some countries, this footy game was developed by Wicked Software for Ocean, and only ever released in France. It was actually reviewed by Amiga Action in the UK, receiving just 67%. When asked about it by Amiga Power in 1992, Ocean's head honcho Gary Bracey said, "We decided not to release it here, let's leave it at that." That to me suggests that they knew it wasn't very good. It's preserved online and fully playable today thanks to the Code Tapper website and T.F.X, who bought a copy of it on eBay. Although to be honest, why bother? I've honestly no idea what Seymour is exactly. He just looks like a grin with giant blue hands, but crucially, he's not appealing in any way. Only 2 of the 5 games to star his charmless face made it to the Amiga. Super Seymour, a poor Bombjack clone, and Seymour Goes to Hollywood, a much better platform adventure in the Dizzy vein. There was set to be a 3rd one too, and that's where Stuntman Seymour comes in. Developed to completion in early 1993, the game was then shelved for unknown reasons. Possibly because codemasters were moving away from home computers towards console releases. In 2023, a master copy was found by the original programmer and passed over to the Games That Weren't website, where you can now download it and play it for yourself. It's an entertaining enough platform game with nice colourful graphics, but I definitely question its long-term appeal. The arcade original of Liquid Kids comes from a time when Taito were knocking it out of the park, with releases such as New Zealand Story and Rainbow Islands. It's perhaps then not surprising that this isn't as well known as it could be. In 1991, Ocean France, responsible for the excellent conversions of both Pang and Toki, produced this enjoyable Amiga version that the world never got to see, thanks to the fact that Ocean failed to obtain the rights to release it. It finally appeared in 2005 on a German Amiga Plus CD. There are better platform games out there, certainly, but also far worse, and considering how poor many arcade conversions are on the Amiga, this definitely deserves a bigger audience. This strange hybrid of shoot 'em up and strategy game was actually completely finished and reviewed in several magazines, and it's a game that sticks in my mind thanks to the 2-page preview that appeared in the final issue of Games X. Just as the game was about to be released, however, Palace Software, the publisher, went bust, and all remaining assets were sold to Titus. Somewhere along the way, the game was forgotten about and remained unreleased for many years. Like many other games on this list, it finally emerged thanks to the efforts of Games That Weren't. It's a great looking and surprisingly complex game, although the lack of a manual makes it tricky to understand at times. Don't let that put you off from playing it though. Those unlucky people at Ocean France are here again, this time with their superb conversion of Toplan's arcade game Snow Brothers. Like Liquid Kids, it's another game that Ocean France chose to develop themselves, only for Ocean to once again fail in their attempts to get the license. A downloadable copy of the game eventually leaked online in 2006, finally allowing us all to see what an excellent job they did. It looks, sounds and plays exactly like the arcade original, and the music will get stuck in your head for days. Great as the conversion is though, there is one near fatal flaw, and that's the complete omission of the two-player mode, which is baffling. After all, the game's not called Snow Brother, is it? We've all heard of games falling foul of legal proceedings before, whether it's Great Guyana Sisters or Catechis. Blitz Bombers is another unfortunate example, incurring the wrath of Hudson Soft, makers of Bomberman, when the game was 95% complete. By this point, previews of the game had appeared in magazines, and there was even a cover disc demo from both the One and Amiga format. According to the developer Leading Edge, they decided to cease development to avoid costly legal problems, and they eventually gave the game away for free in 1998. It's a shame, as if you play it, there are undoubtedly similarities, but I think it's got enough good ideas of its own to stand out, and some excellent graphics. If only they'd made the characters look a little bit different, because I don't remember the makers of Bug Bomber having any problems at all. Thanks to the triple whammy of F-29 Retaliator, Epic and Robocop 3, Digital Image Design were one of the most well-known names in the Amiga games in the early 90s. With so many great flight sims around, any new one needed to be something special or unique, and T.F.X was thankfully both of those. Whether you want a full-force simulation or just some arcade action, this is a game that caters for both, with some excellent 3D graphics to boot, especially the virtual cockpit. The PC version hit shelves as planned in 1993, but the Amiga version disappeared with no explanation whatsoever from Ocean. That was until the October 1997 issue of CU Amiga, where the full game was given away on a cover CD. Although if you didn't have a CD drive, you could also send off for the disc version for a small fee.
149 degrees, 6,000 feet. Tracking, looks like the lizard. Missile away.
If you saw my re-review episode about Apidia and its German developer Kaiko, you'll already know a little bit about Super Gems. This is a charming anime-inspired puzzle game and a sequel to Gem X, a game it only resembles in looks. Originally in development for release in 1992, the master copy of the game was unfortunately stolen from a computer fair in Cologne while it was being shown. Software 2000 then refused to publish it, which is a massive shame as it's an excellent puzzle game with a really enjoyable multiplayer mode for up to 4 players. Think of that as a cross between Bomberman and Pengo and you won't be far off. It's definitely worth playing and you really feel for the developers over what happened. And so to Putty Squad, perhaps the most infamous game on this list. This sequel to Putty was reviewed in a number of magazines back in 1994, receiving near universal praise, and demos were given away on cover discs. A SNES version arrived, but Amiga fans waited and waited and waited. Then, nothing. For years we wondered what happened until a remake was announced in 2013 for modern consoles, followed by a Christmas miracle. The Amiga version appeared, for free, on the System 3 website for all to download. Was it worth the wait? Absolutely. It's an endlessly inventive platformer full of wit and gorgeous visuals. System 3 blamed the fact that the bottom dropped out the Amiga market for the reason why it failed to materialise first time around. But whatever the reason, it's great to finally be able to play it.
Tough guy, eh?
And that's the end of this list. I really hope you enjoyed it. Please make sure you give us a like and subscribe if you did, to show your support for the channel. And I'm going to be back next week with another episode of Amiga Re-Review. See you then. Until next time, happy retro gaming. Bye for now.